Well, I am so excited to have my first guest, Crystal Marshall. So let's pivot a little bit to being strategic about our careers because I feel like you talked a little bit about that. Like you are planning for the future. Hopefully it doesn't. We always cross our fingers, but we can do things right now. So when you left your BET career, you were very strategic. One about leaving. Yes, you had like I'm sure a good salary, but I would love for you to talk more about that. But how did you decide to say, okay, I'm going to leave this role, but I want to make X amount of money before I leave? Like, how did you do that? And was that a challenge for you?
So I'm good with direction. If someone tells me in my head, I was like, oh, I want to save 2 years of expenses. And I thought that was going to be like a great thing to do. And that was my goal. So when I got to my year, I'm like, oh, I'm doing really well. Then I got to my 2 years and I've always kept my expenses low. Like, even though I worked where I worked, I didn't have like a fancy car. I still drove a Hyundai Sonata, a hybrid. It's a 2013 at that. But it had low miles when I bought it. So it looks new, but it's truly an old car. I didn't like move on up to some expensive place. I did move from a studio to a 2-bedroom apartment, but I didn't go somewhere where like my rent would be triple or, I didn't buy designer bags. I just didn't do a whole lot of things because my goal was I want to financially make sure I pay this car off that I did get quickly. I wanted to pay off all my credit cards, any doctor bills. Like I didn't want any type of debt except student loans. I didn't care about that one. I was just like, they're going to get this little money as they get it monthly. I don't care about I don't care about student loans. So, I paid one time, but never was I paying in bulk for a student loan.
Oh
Whatever. So as I thought that way, the guy that I worked for, he talked about money all the time and he was very wealthy. So he always showed me like these books, these magazines with yachts and expensive cars. And he would show me his bank accounts and all his investments. So I knew what it looked like. And I also went to a wealthy school, the Latin School of Chicago. All those kids were Jewish and they had a lot of money. So I've seen things. I just haven't necessarily experienced it, but I know that it's possible. And when I got to my 2 years, I told the guy that I worked for, I'm like, guess what? I saved 2 years of expenses. And he was like, oh, that's good. And he's like, but you should really be aiming to save 100,000 because if you save 100,000, he was like, you can always say F you to whatever job you have if you choose to. And you never feel stuck because you always know you have options. Money gives you options, like you said. So I'm like 100,000. So in my head, I was only at about 25,000 at that time because that was 2 years of my expenses. So I'm like,
oh my gosh,
100,000, like you just took it to a whole new level. So, like, okay, 100. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna start saving. And at that time, since I didn't have any other expenses, like any other debt, I increased the percentage on my 401k. So they matched 6% on the job, and then I increased it to 15%. So I was putting money there. I was working a lot of overtime. So I didn't miss money at all, and I just didn't spend crazy. So then my new goal was to save 100,000. And it wasn't because I thought I was leaving. I just thought, okay, let me save this 100. But then in year 6, I was ready to leave. And I was like, okay, but I got to get closer to this 100,000 in order for me to really be able to leave. So I really started like saving half my check or 3/4 of my check. Like I was saving really aggressively. And then by the time I left, I had 75,000 saved in year 8. So 75,000 is what I saved. And then my 401k had 200,000 in it. So I was just like, okay, well, I feel comfortable. I can do this. And then the other 25,000 that I didn't have, I ended up telling a celebrity at the last party. It was a BT Awards party because I told them I was leaving in June, but I told them in January. I'm like, June is it for me. June 2024, after the BT Awards, I'm done. So BT Awards was like June 29th or June 30th or something like that. And I told a celebrity, I'm like, this is my last day. And he was like, what do you mean it's your last day? I was like, oh yeah, I'm out. And he was like, you can't leave. Like, what are they gonna do? I was like, I don't know. But I told him in June. I told him in January I was leaving in June. And he was like, so what are you doing next? And I told him that I was starting a new business where I train assistants of celebrities or C-suites. And he was like, how much does it cost? And I said, 30,000 for 12 weeks. And he was like, okay, let's do it. And that was it. Like, we talked 2 months later and we started. So that 75 that I was at, that didn't hit my 100, I was over it once I got to 30,000. So it ended up working out the way it was supposed to.
That's amazing. $30,000. Like the fact that you can just say like it's $30,000 in 12 weeks, and they're like, okay, bet. Like that, which I know that you're an amazing like executive assistant, but I feel like how did that work? Like,
Well,
is it your
that's where the relationships come in at, because I had worked with them for so many years while I was there. And partially why I chose to have that clientele is because I know that money doesn't matter that much to them because they have so much of it. So if they feel like it's something that can benefit them, then they'll be willing to pay it. So that's why I chose celebrities. That's why I chose like high level executives, because they understand the value of paying for something that's going to benefit them long term and short term. So when I said it to him, I still was nervous because I've never given a number that big, but I did do some research before I even started the company. And the crazy thing is, I hadn't even written my training modules yet. I didn't expect him to say yes so soon. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I leave BT today, and then maybe in like 2 months I'll start writing training modules. But I had to write them like the next week because now he ready. Like he's like, yeah, train my assistant. So every week I was writing the training modules, and it was 12 of them. So that forced me to do them quicker than I thought I had to.
So this is Crystal Marshall certified. How long did it take you to plan that business plan? Because a lot of us, I know for me, I'm about to say I have to figure out what my skills are. So how did you know like what my skills are? Because you're great at a lot of things. You have some posts where you're like, I know what I'm good at, but you also know how to like key in and say, well, what am I really good at? Or what am I really good at now, and what can I, make money off of? So for those of us who have a lot of skills, how do we get clear about our skills, and how do we build a brand? And how long did it take you to build that?
Well, you have to do something that you actually like and that you actually believe in, because you have to put in so much work. And for a lot of it, you're going to do a lot of work on your own, especially if you don't have the money to pay somebody to do certain things. So you have to learn new skill sets. But what I did was, when I was on the job as the executive assistant, there were always celebrities or executives that were like, can you duplicate yourself, or can you train my assistant? And at the time I couldn't, because I was solely dedicated to BET and all the things that I was doing, and I didn't have extra time. So, but it was always in the back of my mind every time they said it to me. And I was like, maybe I could start a business like that. So one day I had a whole vision of like all the different categories that would help an assistant that I already do and that I excel at and that people know that I'm good at. So I started to map it out when it came to me, and I wrote down what those categories would be of modules that I would have to do. And at first I was scared to use my name. So I call it Crystal Marshall Certified, but I also call it CMC. And at first I didn't know what to call it, but I was like, why not use my name? If I said I want to make a name for myself when I came into the business, I have made a name for myself. So now it's time to use my name. So that's why I chose to use my name. And I didn't have time to work on it, but I did think about it 2 years before I left BET. So I knew what I was going to do, just didn't have time to do it. And then as soon as I left and I started telling people, and I still haven't made it completely publicly yet because I just got a trademark. I'm waiting for the trademark application to come back. But my copyright applications have been approved, and I didn't want to put it out before things were copywritten. So now all of that is happening. And so now I can talk about it more. But when I told him just that one day, I didn't know that that's what was going to happen. But that's part of the leaping. That's part of the networking. That's part of believing in yourself. That's part of all of that. So when it happened, I was like, okay, I'm leaving at the right time. Like everything that I felt in my gut, that even though I was afraid to do, but I still, like I told your sister, I was like, sometimes fear seems so big, but think about yourself in a church and where they have pews and how tight it is. And I'm like, you just got to squeeze past fear. Like, you just got to scoot past it. Like, oh, let me get by you real quick. Let me get by. Because it's going to be there. Like, fear, it happens. So you just got to scoot past it sometimes. It just be like, oh, let me slide past you. Like, booty and all, slide past. Like,
but you move past the fear. I appreciate you for saying that. I was like, because I have a few more rapid fire questions. Because I think fear is such a big thing for all of us. And I know you gotta go. So, can you talk about your podcast, Real Talking Jeans, really quick?
the podcast is Relationship Chit Chat. We started in person 15 years ago. We used to have it at a cafe called Dinah's Cafe. I was literally sitting, and this is me just jumping out. This is part of like my nature. I just jump out. I just do stuff. So I have an idea and I'm like, oh, let's try it. So I was sitting in a coffee shop with this guy named Adam Farmer, and we were talking about relationships. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we just like all sat around and chill and talk about relationships so that men can understand women's perspectives and vice versa. And I was like, we should just all come together and just like talk, just have like real conversations. But it's not a matchmaking thing. Let's have real talk, but then let's say in jeans, like just come chill, just come ready to talk. We're not saying you got to come date it. And, it's not like a quick hookup thing. We're literally just talking about relationships. So we called it Real Talking Jeans. And then we pitched it to Donna, where's the cafe we were sitting in that day. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. You can host them here. They just have to buy pastries or coffee or something while they're here. So every Saturday, I think it was one Saturday a month, we would host them there. And people would just come and we put like questions in a hat anonymously, and we pull it and we just talk about it. And it was such a hit that like, we like, oh, we might be onto something. And then the cafe closed and I didn't feel like looking for another spot. So I was like, oh, well, there's that. Like, so we made the group online, Real Talking Jeans. You can see the thing right there. That's
yeah.
Yes. So then we made the group, and the group was like, it was so-so, it was working out. But then when COVID happened, I called Jason because Jason is my male best friend, platonic male best friend. And we always we like mesh well, but we just have conversations. We're never trying to convince each other to think a certain way. We just talk. So I'm like, Jason, I'm at home, you're at home. How about we just hop on live on Facebook and just do like a real talk session between me and you? We can ask people for questions prior to getting on. And when we did that, like we brought it back to life again. And people started tuning in on the Facebook Live, and it just started to come back. And then after COVID, we're like, let's do the in-person again, because that used to be fun. I prefer not to be the only one talking. So we started that, and now we do both. But it has been, it's fun. I was nervous about running out of things to talk about for the relationships, but the more I'm on social media, I'm like, you can never run out of things. Between social media and life experiences, you will forever have something to talk about when it comes to relationships.
And you are a relationship girly, and you're actually working on a book now. 23 years to 365 days of singleness?
Yes. So it was a reflection book after my last relationship ended, which now I don't remember what year that was, but it was before COVID, so maybe 2018 or so. And I realized that I started dating at 14, and I had not truly been single since then, between 14 and whatever age I was at 2018. I'm like, I have never been single, like not for a full year. Maybe like 6 months, maybe 4 months. But one of my best friends was like, you're like the hot game that comes out. And when it comes out, they're like, oh, they got one of those. Like they be coming for you real fast. So I don't get to be single long. And I don't choose very well. It was just like, oh, I like him. He likes me. Like, yeah, let's do it. That was it. Like it was no real prerequisite. It was nothing. It was just, I like you, you like me, let's try it, let's give it a try.
You like crayons? Me too. Yeah.
So I found myself in relationships that were, I had 2 5-year relationships during that time, and then other ones were like 2 years, 3 years. But literally, I have always been with somebody. So then I was like, let me just commit to being single for a full year, no matter what happens, no matter who approaches me. Let me just be single for a full year. And I did not say celibate. But people were like, oh, you gotta need some batteries. I'm like, I didn't say celibate. I said single. You could take that how you want to take
Fair.
it. I did it. I did it for my, but in that time I was like reflecting on why I chose relationships that I chose. And I'm never like a male basher, but I am reflective in the sense that how did I get here? And how do I stop repeating the same mistake of choosing similar people in different bodies? And why do I choose the way that I choose? So it was just a whole time for me to figure that out. And I started going back all the way to childhood, like with my dad leaving when I was about 5, I think. So it started there. So then I had to acknowledge the rejection and the abandonment and why I chose men that need help and all of those things. So it promoted and provoked a book to be written. So I've written like 170 something pages.
When does it come out?
I don't know. I have to finish my last chapter, and now I'm currently dating somebody, so I'm trying to see like where's this chapter going, or do I just do a part 2?
I'm I'm excited. I hope you come back and you talk about it because I feel like being single. I know I'm single in these streets. I'm like, oh, I wish I had a husband because it would be really easy to like. I don't want a husband. Like I want help, But
Yeah.
like husbands come and help too. So it's like I don't know. It's not. But I wish you could come on and talk about this because I feel like women were encouraged to go and like be with someone, and I
Yeah.
feel like you built this life like even though you had like a person, but like you built like a successful career, not like been
But
like,
I
oh, I have
do
to
want
have
to
a wife.
experience two-person income. I do. I would love to
Okay,
experience that. I'm like,
right?
where's these numbers at? Like we could get there so much faster if it was 2 of us. That's what
Like I want to be. It's like I'm a single. Well, I feel like for me, not for you. You're definitely like a baddie. But I was like, instead of like a double income, no kids. I'm a single income, no kids, a sink, and that's definitely how I'm feeling right now. Like I'm definitely, yeah. I was like, ugh. But you have figured it out. Last few questions. What's like the weirdest thing that happened to you on the job that you can say that probably wasn't in an NDA?
that wasn't in the NDA. I'd say at Essence Fest, I was supposed to have one celebrity only. And they were trying to give me Ashanti and Genuine. And I was like, I hadn't met either of them, so I didn't know. But I was just going off of what I thought I knew. And I was like, they're probably too much to handle for just me to do both of them. So I was like, no, just give me one. So they gave me Genuine. But they didn't plan out how they're transported from the hotel to the venue very well. So they had like a hotel bus, like almost those shuttle buses where they pick people up from. And they wanted all the talent to get on the same bus. So they wanted Genuine, Ashanti, all their people that they have with them, their hairstylists, their barbers, their friends, whoever. Everybody was just supposed to get on this bus. And I'm like, that's crazy, but okay. So it also was a 90s show. So it was like the group Guy with Aaron and Damien Hall.
Oh,
Yes. So Genuine was there. It was Cool Mo D. It was Backstreet. So all of them were there and they were all assigned different people. I was only supposed to be assigned Genuine. But when we got on the bus, I was the only person, like the manager that was there. So all of them were like, oh, well, we're just with you. So instead of me having just Genuine, I had the whole crew. And I was just like, what is happening? So I'm like the only girl on this bus and I'm trying to announce what we're going to do next. Even the driver was a guy. So I'm literally the only female on this bus with all these people. And I'm like, hey guys. So it already took a long time to get all of them on the bus at once. They were hours late. Like Genuine was on time, everybody else was hours late. So and Aaron Hall was complaining the whole time. So we get on this bus and I'm like, so guys, we're gonna go here, then we're gonna do this. I'm like, okay, is everybody okay with the plan? And they're like, yeah, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. So you hear all these yes, cools. And then they was like, Crystal, ask Aaron, is he cool with it? And I'm like, okay. So Aaron in the back of the bus. I'm like, Aaron, you cool with it? He was like, no, he just exploded, just went ham. I was like, and everybody started laughing. And they was like, you didn't get him started. I was like, I did not get him started. Jella got him started. You told me that. And at this point, I still don't know them for real. Like the day just started. So I'm just meeting the whole everybody. And now I didn't get cursed out. But I didn't take it personal. I'm like, whatever. So now I know that I have all these people. I had to learn their habits very quickly. And this is just something that came to me. Nobody trained me to do this. But I was just like, okay, if I have to manage all these people today, and when you're with them, you're there for like 14, 15 hours. I'm like, okay, let me learn their habits quickly. So Genuine was always practicing dance moves. Learn that fast. So I always knew where to find him because he was practicing. Cool Mo D was eating all the time. So I knew where to find him. He was in the kitchen. Aaron Hall was smoking and cursing somebody out every 2 seconds. So I knew where he was. Damian Hall.
I get it now.
I was like, New Jack City, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Like he said he was following his brother, trying to make sure he was okay. And then you from Backstreet, he was fine. He was just like roaming, but I always knew where he was. And so I had to learn all these habits quickly, made it through the whole day. And then Aaron Hall and his brother was like, we need somebody to manage us tomorrow. Can you do it? But they were so like difficult that I was done. Like, no, 15 hours with y'all have been enough. Like, no, thank you. But they were so happy and everybody was like twirling me around. And it was a really cool experience, but it was an exhausting experience. And it also was the first time that I had to manage so many people at once. And that was in like 2018 or I think 2 years in. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, last question. You talked a lot about your faith, and like listening to God. What advice would you give someone for how to listen to God and move or, do things? Because we've talked about this a little bit, but also, what last advice would you give to someone who's young or a caregiver, or even if they're a young caregiver still working and trying to have their career? Like, what big thing do you want them to get from just working?
I would say give yourself grace, but don't allow yourself to give a whole lot of excuses. So grace meaning maybe you couldn't do all the things you wanted to do all at the same time. So you might have to break the goal down a little bit. But excuses meaning you don't accomplish anything and you got a reason for everything that you did not accomplish. So, but I think giving yourself grace is probably one of the biggest things that you can do.
How does God tell you to move, or how do you listen to them?
It's really your gut feeling, I believe. Like literally CMC came to me in like a dream, and it was so vivid that I was like, okay. And I really do believe that God grants you certain things and he allows you time to build it out and make it come to fruition. But if you don't do it, he just gives it to somebody else. So there's so many people who've been like, oh, I thought about that before, when somebody else is like, they see the commercial on TV and they maybe did think about it, but they didn't do anything with it. So you got to move to somebody else. So I didn't want it to move. I was like, oh, this was so clear that I want to see it come to life. And so I wanted to do my part. And I literally was watching like a Noah's Ark movie the other day. Mm-hmm. And I heard God talk to me and he was like, you build it and the people will come. So when I hear things like that, or I see things in like a movie, anything that like brings me to tears or jolts my heart a little bit, I know that it's something that's deeper than just me. And I know that it's God speaking, and I have the choice to do something with it or ignore it. But when I feel that deeply about something, or it moves me in a way where like a teardrop falls, I'm like, oh, that was God, let me do it. So I just continue on that way.
Like one teardrop, like Denzel Washington in Glory.
Like when he said that, like when I was watching Noah and he was like, you build and they'll come, like literally I felt like, whew, like it was like a whole chill. I knew that wasn't me. I was like, okay, all right, well, I'm building, so we're gonna see what happens.
Look for the chills. No, well, Thank you for coming. You're like, I'm just a girl fan, which I know you, so I shouldn't. Is it weird when I fangirl over you? You're like, you know me. Why are you so weird?
I've
No,
always like tickled when people are like, oh my God. Like I remember when I was in I was on Soul Train Award, Black Girls Rock, something I was on TV for. One of those award shows. My mom was there with me too. And my phone, I never watch them on TV because I feel like I was there. I already saw it. So I don't watch it on TV. But one day my phone was blowing up and I thought somebody died or something because like it was just doing the most. All of a sudden it was just a lot happening. And I'm like, and people are like, oh, I saw you, I saw you, I saw you. And then people started calling me Miss BT, and I did not like it. I was like, I just work there. That's how I'm there. Do the best that I can, but don't start like being extra. And then when I started there, people were like, don't change, be yourself. And I'm like, I wasn't even the one that changed. Other people got so big in their mind of who I was, even though I was still the same, just elevated version of me. But the way they treated me was like, oh my gosh, she's so like, I'm not. I'm the same Crystal Lenore Marshall that I was.
the same OG, the same OC. If anybody listens to Jenna West, don't get it. No, I'm not. I want to just. I appreciate you coming on because I feel like you and Court and like because you like Court and Aaron. No one's met Aaron yet, but like Aaron's really big too. And I feel like I'm just like the little sister who's kind of like, wow, they're just so awesome and like
Doing a
successful.
whole podcast.
When you're building, you're like, it's not there yet or whatever. So I feel like when you all are doing stuff, I'm always like, wow, like they've done so much stuff. And I just feel like my sister's a psychologist. She'll be over here. Like Erin is always doing something. She's over last time I checked, she said
of a nature museum here in Chicago.
yeah.
President and CEO.
Yeah, she's the president and CEO of the Nature Museum. Like, and then you're doing all this stuff at BET, and I saw your LinkedIn because you see stuff, and it's like sending your resumes for like executive assistant stuff, and I'm like, Crystal has built a name for herself where people respect her and they respect your opinion, and I think you surround yourself with like people who are not only just successful but like really good people. And I feel like you all are just really good people. Like nobody would know, but like I love that you all are like that. So I think it's something that I'm not like it's like is it aspirational? Maybe that would be it. But it's not like I'm like I want to encompass that, but just the feeling of someone who is you're just honest, you're always yourself. Like and the title doesn't bother you. Like Court's a doctor, and I'm always like, my sister's a doctor, and they're like, right. Like, but then I'll tell Courtney, and I'm like, if I were a doctor, I probably would say that. And she says, no, like that doesn't really bother me that I'm a doctor. I just that's what I am. And I was like, oh yeah, like, and not that
you
that's
don't want things to define you because once you allow titles to define you or people to define you, then people are fickle and life can change. So if you lost the title for whatever reason or people no longer hold you up in the way that they do, like if that's what you hold on to and if that's who you are, it's going to crush you when that happens because you don't have that within yourself. So you can't really bank on that. You just have to build your own character, your own integrity, and just be the best person that you can be. And if people like you, that's okay. If they don't, that's okay. If they praise you one day and then talk about you real bad the next day, that has to be okay. Because people are, they will have you out here crazy.
They will. No, it's true. And I was like, I appreciate that because I think, well, when you're young, I mean, maybe it's the like little millennial me. We're both millennials, but like you're little, like you and Court are like elder, I guess. And I'm still there, and I just feel like, oh, you all have built a career, and it's not about titles; it's more about vocation. And I think that's what it is like so many of us were taught to believe, go to school, get a good job, but not really taught what's a career, what's a vocation. And I'm trying to more so get attached now to what's my vocation, what am I good at. So when I look at you, I'm always like,
career. I still don't feel like I have a career. I mean, you heard what I bounced around and did a trillion things, like, and I'm still doing a trillion things. So usually when people are like, oh, you're a doctor, that's your career. You're a dentist, that's your career. It's like one thing that people do. And I think I'm so much of a free spirit, and I don't really know my life purpose. I just do things that I feel is like gonna feed my spirit and also feed other people. Whatever that may be, I don't know. But do I actually have a career where it's like I do exactly this and that's no, I don't. And I'm okay with that. Like I just want to live a happy life. I don't need like an actual she was a whole this for 25 years. Like I don't need that. It's okay.
Yeah, no, and it's like
I bounced around and did a million things.
And it's okay. And that got you to BET, which is like crazy because
Yes.
I mean, but yeah, everyone's gonna love this episode. I already know. Thank you so much. I probably said it a lot. They're like, gosh, she's cringe. But, but I appreciate it because I'm like, you have to come back and talk about like brands and entertainment and just all the things because you know a lot. And I feel like people are very blessed to like know you. And this is the point of this is for people to meet people in my network and people who I know. And like I know I can pick up the phone and call you and be like, Krista, I have questions about negotiation. Or like, okay, give me like 15 minutes and I'll help you out with that. So I just want people to know like you can move, you can change, like you're not stuck. And I appreciate you for sharing that. And then of course I will see you, in July. So I'm so excited.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see it all chopped up and put back together however you guys are gonna do it. But I think this is very cool.
Yes, tell T-Pain we're gonna chop and screw this very well. Have you met him?
Met T-Pain. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure it doesn't. Celebrities are weird. I was like, you're a celebrity, but it's fine.
You just be nice to them, and then you be nice and you be helpful. Like you be prepared. Like I was like the wedding planner on like J-Lo when she had all the little fanny pack of stuff. Like I had all the things. I had dental floss, gum, mints, eye drops, like whatever I thought people might need, Advil. So when they said they got a headache, I'm like, oh, do you want some Advil? Do you want some this? And they remember that more than they remember anything else. They're like, oh, she brought me Advil. Like I really appreciate it. So when they see you, they're like, hey, that's she brought me Advil. So really, if you just serve and support, it gets you a long way. Like and do it in a genuine way, not in a like, oh my God.
I'm not doing that, but I know I'm like, but no, I love that. Ending with serve and support. I'm gonna try and have some type of event or something with like all of you because I feel like so many women can learn from you and they just have no idea. We're so close to people who can just give us the best advice and, are awesome people. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you for supporting me today. You're the best.
Well, thank you for having me. And whenever the episode is out, let me know and I'll share it too.
I'm definitely gonna know. You're the best. I love you. You're
Thank
awesome.
You. I love you too. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Living Through the Shift podcast. I'm so happy that you took some time to hang out with us today. While you're here, I want to give a special thanks to our sponsors, the Russell Hotel. This podcast could not be brought to you without them. They have been so amazing letting us record here at their podcast studio. So if you don't know anything about the Russell is Nashville's #1 boutique hotel, and they also have an amazing program called Rooms for Rooms, which helps solve Nashville's homelessness problem. So definitely check them out. They're doing some amazing things. You can find them at www.russellnashville.com. And we'll see you next week.